Hey loves, welcome to my YouTube channel, and this is a tutorial on how I made this asymmetric gathers dress. Okay, so let's get started. So for this tutorial I will be using 1.5 yards of Duchess fabric and 2 yards of flower crepe. Okay, so let's just get started with our measurement. So the first thing I'll just go ahead to do from the top of my paper, I'll just go ahead and get my half length and I'll just go ahead and mark it down. So for this dress I will be using the same half length for both the back and the front dress. Okay, so the next thing I'll just go ahead to do right now is to get my hip line. Now to get my hip line, I'll just come down by 9 inches from the half length. Okay, I came down by 9 inches from the half length and I'll just go ahead and connect like so. Okay, as you can see me doing. So now I'll just go ahead and label them like this. I'll label the top of my pattern and the waistline, which is the half length, and the hip line. Okay, so from there I'll just go ahead and take my neck width. So for the neck width I'll be using 3 inches. Okay, for the front 3 inches by 3 inches depth. That's 3 inches width and 3 inches depth. So for the I'll just go ahead and divide my shoulder measurement by 2, and I will come down by 1 inch on my shoulder slope. So from there I'll just go ahead and take my armhole depth. Okay, then I'll just go ahead and connect like this, as you can see me doing. So after I'm done doing that, I will connect the shoulder slope, that is from the neckline to meet the 1 inches that I came down by, like so, as you can see me doing. So after that, on my armhole depth, I'll just go ahead and divide the length by 2, and whatever I have I'll come in by half of an inch and I'll go ahead and connect. Okay, and give it that armhole curve, as you can see me doing. So when I'm done on the chest line, I will go ahead and divide the bust circumference by 2 and add 2 inches. Okay, for my allowance. Now I will not be adding a dart to this dress. Okay, there is no dart to it. So the next thing I'll just go ahead to do right now is to divide the waist circumference on the half length by 4, and I'll just go ahead and also add my extra allowance. Okay, so now on the hip side, that's on the hip line, I will still go ahead and do the same thing. I'll divide my hip circumference by 4 and I'll go ahead and add my allowance to it. Okay, so when I'm done, I'll use my ruler to connect all the lines together, as you can see me doing. I'll just go ahead and connect all the lines together. Sorry this wasn't visible enough, but from my explanation I know you will understand what I am doing. So now I'll just take the depth of the neckline. Remember I said I used 3 inches width and 3 inches depth for the neckline, so I'll just go ahead and connect like so. Okay, I'll just go ahead and connect like so, as you can see me doing. So this is it. So the next thing I'll just go ahead to do right now is to come down by 2 inches from my hip line. Okay, remember the asymmetric gathers, you know how it is, like one side is high and the other side is low. Okay, so in order for me to get the low effect, I would come down from my hip line by 2 inches. Yeah, I'll come down from my hip line by 2 inches. Okay, then I'll just go ahead and mark it out like this. Okay, so I'll extend the hip line measurement to reach that 2 inches that I came down by. Okay, so this is it. So when I'm done, I'll just go ahead and cut it. So now I'll place this front pattern on the back pattern, but before then I will just go ahead and take my 1.5 inches sewing allowance first, then before placing my front pattern after the 1.5 inches sewing allowance. Okay, so after that I will just go ahead and come down by 1 inch for my back neckline. Okay, so you can do 1 inch, you can do 1.5 inches. Okay, but this is a high neck, so it's okay for this measurement. So I'll just go ahead and extend all the lines together. That's the waistline and the hip line. Okay, I'll just go ahead and extend them. So now on the waistline, I will come in by half of an inch to eliminate any zipper bulge. So remember I said the half length for this particular dress that I used, I didn't do a different front half length and back half length. Okay, so I did the same thing. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and eliminate the zipper bulge by removing half of an inch from the half length. Okay, as you can see me doing like so. Okay, so when I am done, I'll just go ahead and cut it exactly like the way it is. I'll just go ahead and cut the same shape pattern of the front. Now, yeah, remember I placed it directly on it like this. Okay, so the difference between the front and back is just the zipper allowance and the back neckline. Okay, so that's just basically what I did, but every other thing I cut were actually the same. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and cut them as you can see. So if you have watched to this point, please kindly subscribe to my channel for more tutorials. Okay, and if there's anything you don't understand in this video, you can always ask me in the comment section. Okay, so guys, I am done cutting this, and I'll just go ahead and transfer it to the main fabric. Okay, now after that, this is the sleeve. So for the sleeve, I will be using 10 inches, that's plus the allowance. And for the width, I went ahead to divide my round sleeve circumference by 2, and I added allowance to it. Okay, then I came down by 3 inches. Okay, and I'll just go ahead and connect like this. So this is like a normal sleeve pattern. Okay, like if you know how to draft your sleeve, you do it anyhow you want it, but this is a short sleeve. That's why I use 10 inches length for each, so that by the time I fold it, yeah, or turn it with a lining, or whichever way you want to do it, it will not be too long. Okay, so that's why I use 10 inches. So now I'm actually gonna head to cut the main dress. Okay, so and I went ahead to cut a facing because I will not be using a lining piece for this. I will not be using a lining for this, so I went ahead to cut a facing for both the front and the back. Okay, so now the next thing I'll just go ahead to do right now is to go ahead and join my zipper allowance. Remember I did 1.5 zipper allowance, so I'll just go ahead and join the two back sides together. I'll just go ahead and sew the 1.5 zipper allowance from the neckline to meet the hem, and when I'm done, I will go ahead and join the shoulders together. That is the shoulders of the front dress and the shoulders of the back dress. Okay, then I went ahead to shape. Okay, remember I added 2 inches sewing allowance, so I went ahead to shape it with that same 2 inches. Okay, so guys, this is actually what we have. And I also went ahead to put my zipper. Yeah, I went ahead to put my zipper. So it's when I'm done putting my zip, shaping it. Okay, so it's now time for me to create the asymmetric. So now in order for me to create that high asymmetric effect, I'll just go ahead and mark my half length. Okay, starting from my shoulder, I will go ahead and get my half length. As you can see me doing, I'll just go ahead and get my half length. Now depends on where you want your own asymmetric to be. Okay, so now from there I will come down by 3.5 inches. That is from my half length. I will come down by 3.5 inches from the half length. Now for this particular dress, the high effect was on the left side. Okay, so now from this left side, that was where I came down by 3.5 inches from the half length, and I'll just go ahead and mark. Okay, now, and I'll just connect it with my chalk from this 3.5 inches to meet the hem slantly. Okay, to meet the hem of my dress like this. Okay, slantly, as you can see me doing. I'll just connect it slightly, as you can see me doing like so. So you can use your ruler, that's your curve ruler, to do it, okay? But for me, I'm using my hand to do it. So this wasn't visible enough, but from how I am doing it, you will get to understand how it is, okay? So when I am done, I'll just go ahead and cut it, okay? As you can see me doing. So you can actually do this on your pattern, okay? But for me, I decided to do it on the dress so I don't get confused, okay? So now I'll just go ahead and cut it like this, okay? So you can see how I am cutting it like so, okay? So when putting your zip, sorry, okay, when putting your zip, what I did was to just from my waistline, I came down by 8 inches, okay? Yeah, I came down by 8 inches. That was where my zip ended. That is from the shoulder to 8 inches after my waistline. So that was where my zip ended, okay? So now this is it. So I'll just go ahead and measure round, okay? I'll just go ahead and measure round. That's from this asymmetric side. So from this asymmetric side, I'll just go ahead and measure it round, okay? So now for this crepe, remember I said I used 2 yards. So this 2 yards, now this crepe is by 60, yes, 60 inches length, yes. So and the width is 2 yards, so I went ahead to like join it. I cut and join, yeah. So that was why I use 2 yards. But when you're doing the long one, you can use 3 yards of fabric, okay, to do it. So now just go ahead now to get the length of the gathers, I will minus my half length plus 3.5 inches. Yes, that is my half length plus 3.5 inches. Remember we came down by 3.5 inches from the half length. Yes, so now that is why I added 3.5 inches to my half length. Now the half length of this dress is 16 inches, then plus 3.5 inches, that is 9.5, okay? So now I minus my half length from the full gown length. I don't really know if you understand. Like when I was measuring this dress, I measured the client the full gown length where the whole dress will end. That is plus the upper side and the lower side. So now for me to get this down side, I minus the 19.5 inches, okay, from the full gown length. So that was how I got this down part, and I added 2 inches, okay, to it. Yeah, whatever I have, I added 2 inches to it, okay, for joining allowance, okay. So that was what I did to get the length of this gathers, okay. So that is it. So I'll just go ahead, remember I said I joined it, so I'll just go ahead and sew it like this, okay. Then I did a pleating on it and not a gathers. Yeah, I did a pleating on it and not a gathers, okay. So you can do either pleating or gathers, whichever one you want. So this method, you can still use this method for the longer version of this dress, okay. So I don't know if you understand this parts of this gathers very well. That is, you will minus your half length plus the 3.5 inches you came down from your half length, okay. So what, let's say your half length is 16 like I used, then you now add just 3.5 inches to it, so that is 19.5. then you now minus it from your full gown length, okay. So whatever you have, that will be the length of which you will cut this your flower crepe or whatever you want to use to do this gathers or pleating parts, okay. So now this is it. I'll just go ahead and sew it round, okay. I'll just take it over to my sewing machine and I'll go ahead and sew it round, okay, like so. So for those of you that want to do a gathers effect on it instead of pleating, you go ahead and measure it round first, so that you will know when to how to gather it. That is, you gather it to the measurement of the round circumference, okay, that you will use. So that is it. So when I'm done, I'll just go ahead and sew it. So guys, I am done joining this, okay, and this is what we have. That is, I'm gonna head to pleat it on the Duchess fabric, and this is what we have. Now I will just tell you guys what I did. So I also went ahead to add the sleeve. Yeah, I went ahead to add the sleeve. I went ahead to shape it and add it. And for the facing, I also went ahead to join the facing, although I'll use a hemming gum, yes, um to press it so it could stick to the main fabric, okay. So now this is what we have. So now, in order for you to be able to get equal length of this asymmetric gathers, you will fold it into two equal parts like this. You make sure that all sides meet, that is from the armhole, the shoulders. By the time you fold it, they will meet together, and by the time you've folded it into two equal halves like this, now the longer part will be visible. You will see how long it is, okay. So from this short gathers, yeah, from the short pleating, that's the shorter length, that is where trim off the you will trim off the longer um gathers, okay, on it. That is where you just go ahead and trim it off. Now if this particular method is confusing for you, you can just do your slash and spread method. Yeah, that is, you do your slash and spread method from your pattern, okay, and not this pattern that I did. But for me, that was what I went ahead to do. Like, I folded it into two equal part, and I went ahead to trim off the longer sides, okay. I went ahead to trim it off. Another method for you to use is to trim it on the client's body. Yeah, is to trim it on the client's body, okay. So this is what it looks like. That is the whole length. So this is the shorter length, so yours can be longer, yeah, than this, and you use this method and